Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I love hearing about your relationships. The good, the bad, the ones where you accidentally wear matching outfits, send them all my way. But you know what I don't love? Seeing those little warning signs that a relationship might be headed for a rough patch. Today we're diving into a topic that's incredibly important for maintaining those healthy, happy relationships that make life so much more fun. Think of it like a checkup, but for your heartstrings. We'll be discussing the 7 major signs you might be growing emotionally distant from your partner. Don't worry, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna think, and by the end you'll be ready to reconnect with your sweetie in a whole new way. So let's get started. Chapter 1. Radio silence, time to tune in. Okay, first up, we're talking communication, people. Or should I say the lack thereof? Remember when you first started dating? You couldn't stop texting, calling, sending those ridiculous voice memos with your laugh that you thought was cute, but was actually kinda loud. Yeah, those were the days. But as time goes by, sometimes those constant chats start to fade away. It's natural to not be quite as chatty as those early days. But when's the last time you and your partner really talked? And I mean really talked. Not just about what's for dinner or who's picking up the dry cleaning. I'm talking about those deep, meaningful conversations that make you feel connected, understood, like you can tell each other anything. If those heart-to-hearts are happening less and less, it might be a sign that emotional distance is creeping in. Think about it. When you share your thoughts and feelings with someone, you're inviting them into your world. You're letting them see your vulnerabilities, your dreams, your fears. And that creates a bond that's stronger than any text message or quick phone call. So how do you get back on track? Well, put down the phone, turn off the TV, and just talk to each other. Share your day, ask about their dreams, tell them a funny story. Like actual human beings. Remember, communication is the glue that holds a relationship together. It's how you stay connected, resolve conflicts, and grow closer over time. So don't let it slip away. Make time to talk to each other every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Trust me, your relationship will thank you for it. And hey, if you need some conversation starters, just watch my show. I've got you covered. Chapter 2. Intimacy. More than just hugs, but don't skip those either. All right, let's talk about intimacy, folks. And no, I don't just mean the things you do under the covers, though those are important too. I'm talking about all kinds of closeness. Physical, emotional, the whole shebang. Remember when you first started dating and you couldn't keep your hands off each other? Every touch felt electric. Every hug lasted a little too long. And even just holding hands was enough to make your heart skip a beat. Ah, young love. But as time goes on, sometimes that intense physical connection can start to fade. You might not cuddle on the couch as much. Those spontaneous kisses become less frequent, and even holding hands becomes a rarity. And you know what? That's okay. Every couple goes through phases, and it's natural for the initial spark to simmer down a bit. But it's important to pay attention to those changes and make sure you're both still feeling loved and connected, even if it's in different ways. Physical touch is a powerful way to show your partner you care. It releases all those feel-good hormones like oxytocin, which is basically like a love potion in a hug. So make an effort to be physically affectionate with your partner, even if it's just a quick hug before work or a cuddle on the couch. But intimacy isn't just about the physical stuff. It's also about being emotionally vulnerable with each other. Sharing your secrets, your dreams, your fears, all those things that make you, well, you. When you let your guard down and allow your partner to see the real you, it creates a deep sense of intimacy and connection that's truly special. So make time for those heart-to-heart conversations, be open and honest with each other, and don't be afraid to show your vulnerable side. It's in those moments of raw, emotional connection that true intimacy thrives. Chapter 3. Irritable? Check your emotional baggage. Okay, have you ever noticed how when you're tired or stressed, everything seems to annoy you about 10 times more than usual? Your partner clears their throat a little too loudly. They leave their socks on the floor. The horror. And suddenly you're ready to launch into a full-blown stand-up routine about all the things they do that drive you crazy. Well, that, my friends, is what we call being irritable, and it's a totally normal human reaction to stress. But when those little annoyances start to build up in a relationship and you find yourself getting triggered by things that never bothered you before, it could be a sign that some emotional distance is creeping in. Think of it like this. When you're feeling close and connected to your partner, you're more likely to see their little quirks as endearing, or at worst, mildly annoying. But when that emotional distance starts to grow, those same quirks can feel like nails on a chalkboard. Suddenly, everything they do is amplified, and you might find yourself feeling more critical, judgmental, or even resentful. So, what can you do about it? Well, first things first, take a deep breath and ask yourself if there's anything else going on in your life that might be contributing to your irritability. Are you stressed about work? Not getting enough sleep? Did you run out of your favorite coffee creamer this morning? Sometimes, addressing those external factors can work wonders for your mood and your relationship. But if you suspect that the irritability stems from issues within the relationship itself, it's important to address those head-on. Don't let those little resentments fester and grow into something bigger. Talk to your partner about how you're feeling, but try to do it in a way that's constructive and solution-oriented. Instead of saying, "You always leave your socks on the floor," try something like, "Hey babe, I know you're busy, but it would really help me out if you could try to remember to put your socks in the hamper. Remember, communication is key, and a little bit of understanding can go a long way in bridging that emotional gap. Plus, nobody wants to be on the receiving end of a stand-up routine about their annoying habits. Trust me, I've been there. Chapter 4. Avoiding conflict, time to talk it out. Okay, let's be honest. Who here loves a good argument? No? Didn't think so. Conflict is never fun, and it's natural to want to avoid it, especially in our relationships. But here's the thing. Disagreements are a normal part of any healthy relationship. Think of it like this. You're two unique individuals with your own thoughts, feelings, and opinions. It's inevitable that you're going to bump heads every now and then. But when you constantly avoid conflict, those unresolved issues can start to build up like a tower of dirty dishes in the sink. And trust me, nobody wants to deal with that mess. If you find yourself biting your tongue, agreeing to things you don't really want, or just plain avoiding any conversation that could potentially lead to an argument, it might be a sign that you're emotionally distancing yourself from your partner. Now, I'm not suggesting you pick a fight every time your partner forgets to put their coffee cup in the dishwasher, but it's important to create a safe space where you both feel comfortable expressing your feelings openly and honestly, even if those feelings aren't always sunshine and rainbows. Remember, communication is key, and learning to navigate conflict constructively is an essential part of any strong, healthy relationship. So the next time you feel that urge to bite your tongue, take a deep breath and try talking it out instead. You might be surprised at how much closer it brings you together. Chapter 5. Spending more time apart? Reconnect with a date night. All right, folks. We all need our alone time. Whether you're an introvert who recharges with a good book and a cup of tea, or an extrovert who gets their energy from being around people, it's important to have space for yourself. But when you or your partner start consistently choosing solo activities over shared experiences, it could be a sign that you're drifting apart emotionally. Remember those early days of dating when you couldn't get enough of each other? Every date was an adventure. Every moment felt precious, and even running errands together felt like a romantic outing. Well, as time goes on, it's natural for those initial butterfly feelings to settle down a bit. Life gets busy, responsibilities pile up, and suddenly finding time for each other can feel like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. But here's the thing, even the strongest relationships need regular nurturing. Just like a plant needs water and sunlight to thrive, relationships need quality time together to stay healthy and vibrant. So if you find yourselves constantly going in different directions, it's time to hit the pause button and schedule some quality time together. And no, I'm not talking about just sitting on the couch scrolling through your phones. Make an effort to plan dates, even if it's just a simple picnic in the park or a movie night at home. The important thing is that you're present, you're engaged, and you're making an effort to reconnect with each other. Remember, relationships are like gardens. You get out of them what you put into them. So invest some time and effort into nurturing yours and watch it blossom. Chapter 6. Lost that loving feeling? Rediscover what brought you together. Okay, remember all those things you used to love doing together? Those shared hobbies, interests, and activities that made your relationship feel so special? Maybe it was hiking, biking, trying new restaurants, or just spending hours lost in conversation. Whatever it was, those shared experiences created a bond, a sense of connection that made you feel like you were part of something truly special. But as time goes on, sometimes those shared interests can start to fade. Maybe one of you discovers a new passion, life gets busy, or you just fall into a rut of doing the same old things. And while it's perfectly normal for your interests to evolve over time, it's important to make sure you're still nurturing those shared passions that brought you together in the first place. Think about it. Remember how excited you used to get planning those dates? How much fun you had trying new things together? When was the last time you felt that spark? If you're struggling to remember, it might be a sign that you've stopped making an effort to connect over those shared interests. But don't worry, it's not too late to rekindle that flame. Start by reminiscing about those early days. Talk about the things you used to love doing together, the memories that make you smile, and the experiences that brought you closer. Then make a plan to recreate some of those special moments. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate or expensive. Even just revisiting a favorite date spot or trying a new activity together can be enough to reignite that spark and remind you why you fell in love in the first place. Remember, relationships are like sharks. They need to keep moving forward to survive. So don't be afraid to try new things, explore new interests, and keep those shared passions alive. Chapter 7. Feeling indifferent? Time for a heart-to-heart. All right, folks, this last sign is a biggie, and it's one that's often the most difficult to admit even to ourselves. We're talking about indifference. Remember those early days of your relationship when you were completely smitten with your partner? Their happiness was your happiness. Their sadness was your sadness, and you couldn't imagine your life without them? Well, when that deep emotional connection starts to fade, it can sometimes manifest as indifference. You might find yourself feeling emotionally detached from your partner, less invested in their life, and less affected by their emotions. Now, it's important to note that indifference isn't always a sign that the relationship is doomed. Sometimes it's a symptom of something else going on, like stress, burnout, or even a medical condition. But if you've noticed a persistent pattern of emotional distance and indifference in your relationship, it's important to address it head-on. Start by asking yourself some tough questions. What's changed in your relationship? When did you start feeling this way? Is there anything you can do to reconnect with your partner on an emotional level? Sometimes, simply acknowledging the issue and making a conscious effort to reconnect can make a world of difference. Make an effort to be more present in your interactions, listen attentively when your partner is talking, and show genuine interest in their life. But if you're struggling to bridge the gap on your own, it might be helpful to seek professional guidance from a therapist or counselor. They can provide a safe and supportive space for you to explore your feelings, identify the root of the issue, and develop a plan to move forward. Remember, relationships are like plants. Sometimes they just need a little extra TLC to thrive. So, don't be afraid to reach out for help if you need it. Well, there you have it, folks. The 7 major signs you might be growing emotionally distant from your partner. If you noticed any of these signs in your relationship, it might be time to have an open and honest conversation with your partner. Remember, communication is key. Remember, every relationship has its ups and downs, but recognizing these signs early can help you reconnect and strengthen your bond. Don't be afraid to put in the work, to be vulnerable, to prioritize each other, and to keep that spark alive. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more relationship tips and advice. And remember, love is a two-way street, so keep those communication highways open and those hearts connected.